You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me, not my co-host as usual, Ryan has decided to skip the Patriots talk this week and escape the country, go up to Canada for the holidays. But fear not, I have a lot of friends. Starting with me to my side here, we got my pal, John Pierce, TikTok superstar. I forget what his TikTok handle is, but he's got some funny shit on there. I've been a day one fan personally. I gotta get this camera right. My pal at the bottom here, my boy Fonz, Andrew. I can't pronounce his last name, but we're gonna call him the Fonz. And then right below me, my pal, Nick Benoris, legend in these parts. I'm outnumbered by Giants fans today. They're all Giants fans. So take with that what you will. Maybe you pat him on the back for beating us twice, or you be like, man, you guys are in the shit with us. But
we're all commiserating together.
Yeah, I will let you all go around a little bit to introduce yourselves to the fine people at home, including my Nana. So just go ahead and jump right on it. John, I'll start with you, I guess, in the order.
Right on, yeah. Well, yeah, like he said, name's John. I've been a Giants fan for what feels like decades at this point because they make it hard for you. I'm really not sure what else to say to introduce myself, but yeah.
Drop your TikTok handle. That's what you have to.
My TikTok handle. It's just my name. It's John Alvin Pierce, I think.
John Alvin Pierce, at John Alvin Pierce. Go follow it. Repost everything you see. It's great stuff. Fonz, our resident rocket scientist. Let's go right to you.
Yeah, the resident rocket scientist. People like to call me smart, but then they realize I follow the Giants, and they start to rethink my life choices. So here I am. I don't know how long I've been a Giants fan. If anything, I think one of my earliest football memories was like a Jason Sehorn pick on the Eagles. Nick probably knows which one I'm talking about from God knows how long ago that was. But yeah, we've all been at this for a while, and we're here to kind of hopefully make you guys a little bit more entertained than the Pats and the Giants will on Sunday.
Yeah. No kidding. And despite how Patriots fans feel about rocket scientists in the last couple of years, I think you're already off to a pretty good start as their favorite rocket scientist after that.
Oh,
intro.
you already know I have a vendetta against Matty P. The school he
went to. Don't call him Matty P. That's disrespectful to Matthew Perry. Rest in peace to my celebrity doppelganger. But last and certainly not least, my good pal Nick. Nick, if you want to introduce yourself to the fine people of Patriots land.
My name is Nick. I've been a Giants fan probably longer than our beloved host has been alive, for better or for worse, mostly for worse. My claim to fame as a Giants fan is that I've probably been kicked out of more Giants groups than anybody ever. Because while I am a Giants fan, I'm also very, very realistic about the Giants, and that does not go over well with a vast majority of not just Giants fans, but fans in general, as the rest of the gentlemen here on this panel can attest to. Most fans, fan is short for fanatic, so most people are fanatics and they're not reasonable people. I can assure you that everybody up here is a reasonable person because I talk football with everybody up here, and I have very, very little patience for people who are unreasonable. So the fact that I get along with everybody here shows that we may not agree with everything all the time.
Me and you agree with everything every time.
Yeah, that's true. too much apparently, but even though we may not agree with everything all the time, we are always going to kind of shoot it straight. So I promise you, even though there's 3 Giants fans up here, you're not going to get any rose-colored glasses stuff up here.
No, I probably picked like the least optimistic Giants fans that I could have found on the universe. And then you pair it up with the most optimistic Patriots fan, which is obviously not very optimistic right now. But with it's
been a rough year for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been brutal, and we are just going to sit in this misery together and try to have some fun with it. So, with all of the greetings and grab ass out of the way, let's get into the tough conversations about our very bad football teams. The Patriots, obviously, this is the Patriots podcast. We had the week off after to create some drama in anticipation against for this game upcoming against the G-Men. Many are calling this the Tank Bowl, with both these teams battling for a top 3 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft that features Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Caleb Williams. So obviously, we'll get to a little bit of draft talk, just like we did last week with Ken, which was a great episode. That and so much more coming up. So let's just get right to it. Our first segment here: the Pats are comfortably in the last place in the AFC. Mac Jones has been terrible and at threat of losing his job all season, and it's probably kind of hit its tipping point this week. If he doesn't play this week, I don't know how he's going to come back. Straight up, I think once you hop over that bridge at this point, he's not coming back. And I've been on the podcast saying he probably shouldn't. But as for the Giants, their Jones, by the name of Daniel, was injured a few weeks ago, and their ship has been captained by none other than Tommy DeVito, who I captured. Fonz has some strong opinions on a personal level.
Oh yeah, Nick missed that. We'll get into that in a bit, I'm sure.
Can't wait.
But their tank commander, Tommy DeVito, not doing a great job of commanding the tank. He picked up a win last week against the Commanders. So let's just talk about our respective QB situations and maybe argue who's in the worst spot. Although after what Fonz and John told me earlier, we didn't pay our guy $40 million yet. So there's always that. But I'll start with the Giants fans, since Patriots fans kind of know what we're getting from this Mac Jones conversation. So I'll give you guys an outlet to just tear your Jones to shreds and maybe make us feel a little better about ourselves. Whoever wants to jump at it, chomping at the bit, go for it.
I can start. So so for people who listen to this podcast and don't know, I wasn't very happy about the Daniel Jones pick. We made it. I kind of went a little AWOL on that one too. It'd been a tough few years. I wasn't happy with it. Nobody was. Terrible job. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say nobody was, because in those groups, you would find people who defended him, said he did a good job, so on and so forth. So
dude, in some of the groups that I've snuck in, there are some people who are still defending him to this day.
Absolutely. Listen, he did draft a couple of guys who are, franchise cornerstones. Can't argue that. Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas. I would argue the Andrew Thomas one, like, all right, it's top 4 pick. Like, you got to get those right. Like, it's just, I'm not saying it's easy to get those right, but if you're not getting top 5 picks correct, you kind of not long for the job anyway. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't happy about the Daniel Jones pick. Year 1, he kind of showed more than I kind of thought he had. And then after that, he kind of settled into just that really underwhelming, bad situations. To no fault of his own, tough guy. Took a lot of hits, dealt with a lot of stuff. A bunch of different old seasons and like that. So in his defense, not that I was trying to cut him too much, he did have a lot of stacked against him. He was in a situation where I think even elite talents, which he was never elite talent, but even elite talents would have had a hard time in those first 3 years-ish. And then when they got Dable, they settled. They kind of found an offensive coordinator who knew what he was doing. And last year he was solid. I would even argue that he was probably a little better than his numbers, because he had a lot of rushing touchdowns and stuff like that, which, like a lot of people made the argument of, I think he had 15 passing touchdowns in 16 games. Like, oh, he didn't even average 1 a game, but he had like 7, 8 touchdown runs. And, the Giants have Saquon Barkley. They're going to run the ball a lot, stuff like that. The Giants' offense was functional last year. It wasn't spectacular, but it was functional. A lot of us. And then in the playoff game, in the first one at least, he played fantastic. That's, in reality, that's probably what got him paid. Like that. You looked at that and said, okay, that's a ceiling. Obviously, he's not going to do it every week, but that's a ceiling. That's what he can do. We're paying him based on the idea that there's more of that left in the tank than there is of the last couple of previous years. This year, he didn't play good. That's just kind of the reality situation. Except for basically a half against Arizona, he didn't play good. Now, it's unfortunate that his struggles really coincided with the Giants missing Andrew Thomas and Saquon Barkley. In reality, that's the Giants' 2 best offensive players. So, obviously, a more elite quarterback would have been able to kind of overcome some of those things, but he's not an elite quarterback. Nobody's ever argued it. And the idea that people argue that he's getting paid like one, he's really not. Based on the salaries of what quarterbacks get paid nowadays, he wasn't getting paid like an elite quarterback. He's getting paid like a very, very good one, and he didn't perform to that level either. So that's wrong. But He's not the kind of guy who's going to be able to overcome those things. So he kind of really didn't. And then, he sat out a couple of games. Tyrod came in. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know how you guys feel, but a lot of people overrated how good Tyrod was. I thought he was just, fine, I guess. He pushed
doing
the ball
usual
down
Tyrod things, yeah.
Tyrod, I think is his name. Sorry.
It's technically Tyrod, yeah.
It's Tyrod. Yeah,
I'm not calling him that.
Yeah, he's
I mean, no
corrected people in the past. Yeah, that's my fault too. That's why I corrected myself. It's Tyrod, yeah. So the Y is so tantalizing.
He's been Ty
I've
God
never
Taylor
heard
since
it pronounced
college.
that way.
Right, yeah. So when I wasn't super impressed with how Tyrod played, especially against Buffalo. I thought he got a lot of credit for Buffalo. Just like he made a rookie mistake at halftime.
Oh God, that was terrible.
That's a mistake I would expect DeVito to make. That's not a mistake I expect a guy who's been in the NFL. How long has Tyrod been in the NFL? 15 years. You can't make that mistake, So,
yeah, for anyone for any of the Patriots fans who don't know what we're talking about, right before halftime in the Bills game, the Giants decided to call a running play with 14 seconds left on the clock, right on the 1 yard line with no timeouts left, and then Tyrod, without any sort of reason or whatsoever, just could not get the ball back to try to spike the clock and end it, and then that's just how.
Sorry to interrupt you. So basically, what happened was they called a passing play, and every passing play has the option.
Oh, he audibled that. That's what it was.
But Dable told him you can't switch to run here.
I do remember hearing about that on the radio.
Can't switch to run. There's no option.
That's what it was.
So he ended up doing it anyway, and the time ran out, and it cost us 3 points, and we ended up losing by 4. But we ended up losing by in field position to kick a field goal, but we needed 4 points, and then instead of 1, whatever. The game goes differently if stuff like that happens. So I'm not gonna say it's stolen, but just the mistake itself was a really, really bad mistake for a 15-year veteran to make.
Yeah, it's a big momentum thing.
So it was a make he was explicitly told not to make too.
Literally,
that's what it was.
Dable was chewing him out.
Yeah, Dable told him you can't switch to a run. Don't switch to a run. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he switched to a run anyway. So got a little off track. So basically, what I was hoping for was they had played better the previous couple of weeks. They had the whole Jets game, which the loss sucked, but Jones is coming back, and you said to yourself, all right, maybe he clears his head a little bit. Andrew Thomas is back, Barkley's back. Maybe we'll see an improvement. All right, maybe the Giants didn't make the playoffs, but they could have won 6-7 games and been like, okay, we're still on the right trajectory. He basically played 1 quarter, tore his ACL. What sucks about the ACL is that that's exactly how I tore my ACL too. I ran, I tore it, I went down. When I saw him go down and grab the knee, I'm like, that doesn't look good. And they went to the commercial. I told my brother, I'm like, something's wrong there. I'm telling you, they cut away too quick. I didn't know what was going on. When I saw him take the next snap, I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe he's taking the next snap.
Just crumpled.
And then he went back and crumpled. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened to me because I never tore my ACL before. I didn't know what the pain was. So I got back up. The second you plant on it, there's zero stability on it. It's not even that it's painful. There's just no stability. So the second he planted on, he went down. I'm like, I was going to you're not going to see him until next year. That's an ACL. That's exactly what the ACL looks like. So it sucks that we didn't really get to see him like that. But I'm also of the idea that if you're in striking business for a quarterback, I didn't see enough to keep me from doing it. Now the problem is we're kind of getting further away from that. But
it's a real crappy combination of not living up to athletic potential as a running quarterback in the league, the injury history that he has now with his history of neck issues and now the torn ACL, and the fact that we're locked into a contract for at least the next year. There's a potential out in the beginning of 2025 if we do.
I think I saw it's a 22.5 million dead cap. I thought I saw
it could be worse, but
it
is
a cap. Right,
it still sucks
it's
especially with how little cap money we've been dealing with over the last few years. 22 is going to be felt.
Yeah.
John, you have anything to add to your Giants pals here?
I'm just letting them go. Blanking. Hold on.
Okay, well, I can. No, he's like, shit. You guys really hammered that out of the park.
Yeah, no, he touched on everything pretty much. I wanted to say.
Well, that's good.
It's hard because it felt really unsettled. The whole year just was topsy turvy. Everything just went wrong, and literally, the Giants literally had one good half of football for the first 6 weeks, basically. And it sucked. It really sucked a lot. And had the Buffalo game, which Like they were in it, but like you're at some point you were just like, well, how are we gonna lose? Well, how are we gonna lose? Well, how are we? We're all expecting them to lose. It wasn't like the fact that we were in the game was a surprise to begin with, but it's been tough sledding as a Giants fan this year, previous years, basically since the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. It's been tough sledding. A lot of you.
No,
Yeah,
and
on the other
I'm
side,
sure
we
that there
have-
are some Patriots fans like reveling in that fact
Yeah,
too.
I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't blame
Not
them.
me
I get it.
personally. Some of
no,
my
I
best friends
understand.
on
I
this
get it.
panel, I got a lot of love and respect for the
Of
for the
course.
Giants. I've been adopted into their fan base if the Patriots ever like did a Deshaun Watson thing. But
That's true. That's true.
but I will now transition the question into talking about a different Jones, our Jones, because we don't often get these chances to have these outside perspectives on the team that's going on with the Patriots. I'm glad that we had the conversation to just kind of figure out who our opponent is this week, what they're coming into. Obviously, you guys laid that out perfectly, just how topsy-turvy the season has gone and expecting to lose every game. But unfortunately, this year it is a Patriots podcast. We do have to talk about the Patriots as much as I really, 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 really don't want to. John, I will let you kick off this one because the other two really, really hammered a lot of points home for you. But as an outsider's perspective, you probably haven't watched too many Patriots games. But from the things you've seen and maybe the things you've heard, read, whatever the case may be, what is kind of your perspective, like coming into this game without going too deep into the X's and O's about the game itself? Because we got a schedule for that later.
Well, around a week ago, somebody on Twitter mentioned potentially trading for Bill Belichick, and my response was like, "Why would you do that? Because this is one of the only games I'm worried about us winning." Mac Jones last week, I believe, that
2 weeks
bad
ago,
interception. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he threw maybe one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life, and I've like covered football games for the newspapers for like high school, college, professional.
So this is worse than a high school
pass
quarterback.
Yeah, I've seen some predator passes from like 16-year-olds. Yeah, I don't know how you deal with him.
I watch Mac Jones, just like he's so limited in every way that like for him to be productive, which he has been in some light at some point. I know that the offensive coordinator or whatever you guys want to call it last year situation wasn't
The
ideal.
lesser rocket scientist.
Right. Like and nobody's more sensitive to that than I am because, like I said with Daniel Jones, not an elite player, but definitely wasn't given the advantages to have, a competent
fighting chance.
Right. Yeah. Like I can completely appreciate that part. The difference I would argue is, for the most part, the Patriots' offensive line has been at the very least better than what the Giants' offensive line years.
It's true.
This year, I know it's been a little rough, but previous years they've been adequate. They've had a couple of different players move out, stuff like that, but generally they're pretty fundamentally sound. So he's had protection in front of him. But just with him, the issue with him is that he's so limited, at least from what I watch. He's so limited.
No, you're not wrong so far.
Like everything needs to be perfect around him for him to be, I'll say, a little above adequate. To be like average-ish, maybe above average, somewhere in that range, where he's a starting quarterback. He looks like a starting quarterback. His rookie year, he looked like a starting quarterback for most of the year and stuff like that. There's a couple of games where he was off, but and it's funny because I know me and you like Colin Cowherd, a lot of people don't. One thing he said after the first year of Mac Jones' career, I thought it was
his trade value will never be higher. Yeah.
He said his trade value will never be higher than now. He's literally never. He's got 4 years left. He had a positive rookie year. He said, now would they have ever really traded him? Probably not. I mean, who's trading a rookie quarterback coming off a solid rookie year? Completely get it.
Especially right after you take him 15 overall.
Right, exactly. And like people make fun of Cowherd for some mistakes, and he deserves it. I'm not arguing. Like I'm a Cowherd fan, but he says some outlandish stuff. But once in a while, he says something like that, and like you kind of scoff at it, and you don't think about it again. And like now, here we are, like 3 years later, and I'm like, I don't think they can get anything from Mac Jones now. So like,
no. You're getting a bag of Cheetos.
Right, or even a late first for a guy who had 4 years left and showed some positivity. It would have been a great idea, but nobody ever brings that one up. freezing cold takes is not going to bring that one off because that would actually make sense.
Who would you even have had left in the QB room if you were to trade Mac Jones after that first year? Wouldn't that be even worth it?
It was the offseason, so I mean, you could figure you could draft somebody else.
Right, but who would you even have on the roster at that point?
So that was Hoyer, his backup. I think his rookie year we had Hoyer the Destroyer, and then we drafted Zappy in the 4th round of that year.
Right.
Oh, right, you got him at the same time.
So I think that if we had traded Mac Jones after his rookie year, we had picked 21. That 2022 QB class was god awful. I think that what would have probably happened, and honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of getting pumped up about it. We would have traded for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
that's what we would have done.
That would have made
sense.
That's
what we would have done.
The whole offseason is different if they move forward to plan to trade him. So they would have figured something out. They wouldn't have went into the year with Hoyer being like,
I mean, hey, in 2020 we went into the year with Stidham and Hoyer as our QBs, and then we signed Cam Newton in May.
Cam, right, yeah.
Like we went through the whole draft. We were like, yeah, no, we're gonna play Hoyer and Stid, and then Stid went in the middle of COVID to like a wedding in Texas, and the coaching staff found that to be so irresponsible of him that they were like, we can't do this. We can't do this.
Technically, it was, but
yeah. Right.
And then they went and signed Cam Newton, and he didn't get a full off season. And obviously, we know how the 2020 season went for us.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, like for me, like when I watch Mac Jones, like it's just everything needs to be perfect for him to be adequate, and that's just a really tough standard to.
You can only go so far with the quarterbacks that need everything to be so perfect. So limited.
And listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Patriots answer for quarterback roster. Like Zappy's not an answer.
No.
Cunningham's not an answer. I don't even know if Cunningham's on the roster anymore.
He is. He's on the practice squad at the very least.
They cut him. They put him on the practice squad. They gave him a 3-year deal, and they cut him like 10 days later. So I don't understand what was going on there. But whatever. Like none of these guys are the answer. And I feel like it's kind of crazy because it really does make Belichick look bad. But like my thing is like, what coach is not going to look bad with Mac?
He's pulling the preseason move right now, where he's not going to name a starting quarterback until Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think we'll know
that in week 12 of the season.
I think we'll know on Thursday or Friday, like through the hows of the Rice of the world. But I think it is notable that last week Will Grier took a lot of QB1 reps, and today I heard that Mac was taking most of the starter reps, but in the media availability. But we don't know, and we won't know till later in the week. And
we will wait, and we will see, and then we will know.
I hate that reference. Captain Sweatpants. I'm done with Belichick. I am.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm on the fire Belichick train. I know that
I'm assuming trade him would probably be a better route because I'm sure you can get something for him.
Would we get anything for Belichick? Are you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah,
you would.
From who?
You think about it. If you're a team who's doesn't have to worry about the quarterback situation, you wouldn't hire Bill Belichick.
The Chargers and the Redskins have both shown interest.
Hey, our word.
All right.
Right. They're the football team. They're the Commanders.
For me, I think the perfect fit this offseason for me, I think, is the Chargers and Mike Vrabel. I think that's a perfect fit because they have all the talent in the world. They just need a coach who's competent. I still don't know how Staley still has a job. That's absolutely insane.
I thought he was going to be the first coach fired.
Such a bad coach. It's like he just. I can't believe how he's still there. Like it's really almost comical to me that he's still the coach because like I don't know what he sells them on, what his appeal is to them. He's a defensive coordinator. He was a defensive coordinator. The defense sucks. Like that's the only thing you came in for. Why? Because Herbert's good, so you win 8 games a year. The defense isn't good. You were hired to fix the defense, and it's not like they don't have players on defense. They do. They have a couple.
Belichick and Vrabel could do something with that, but I think Belichick is at this point. There's a lot of. I know that GM Belichick has gotten a lot of the flack.
Yeah.
GM Belichick has gotten a lot of flack, but this year, Coach Belichick needs a check. Like, it's been a bad coaching year for him. It's been unbelievable. But that moves into our next segment here, which we've kind of dived into already. I called it thanks for nothing giving, because the Patriots and the Giants have given us nothing to be thankful for this year. And it is the holiday season. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. I gave this little window here to just let you guys go off, which you did in the first segment, which was great. But if you have anything,
We got more. Don't worry.
Oh, we got plenty.
any other vulgar obscenities, and you just want to just lash out at John Mara or Brian Dable or whoever the hell you want to just rip, I will let you all go. John, I want you to hit this one out of the park. Who is like public enemy number one for you on the Giants right now?
God Christ, I don't even know who to blame anymore. It's top to bottom of failure on every level. The management has their fingers in the pie too much. They're not letting the coaches draft how they need to. They're definitely influencing the decisions with who's being signed, who's being drafted, who's being kept in house.
Who's being committed to? Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's you know what it is. I know you guys are cheering for the Giants to lose on Sunday. I was too. It's hard though because like from the perspective of like, I'm not mad at them for winning the game. Like they get paid to play football. They get paid to win. They get paid. I don't expect these guys, especially mid-season, like it's not even Thanksgiving, to walk into a game planning to lose. I don't expect the coaches to do that. I don't expect the players to do that. Like I don't expect ownership to want. It's just to me like you can't do that. Now, as a fan who doesn't have to do this, I want them to lose every single game because generally I think it's what's best for us long term. But like even this weekend, right, when they won the game, when Simmons picked that off and took it to the house, in my head I'm like, shit, But I get it. Like Simmons is in the last year of his contract, right? What is he going to do? Not make a play that's going to get paid more money next year? Like so it's hard to even get mad at them because they're doing what they're supposed to do, But it's just some of these blowouts have just been difficult to watch. Like the Cowboys ones.
Oh God!
I can speak on a Cowboys blowout.
What's crazy to me though is that like football. If the Giants go to show you how important matchups are because I swear it's amazing to me. No matter how bad the Giants are, Washington doesn't know how to play football against us.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Washington's a better team than us. Like I would never like right now. Washington's a better football team.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
With the guys here, it doesn't
100%.
matter. It's so irrelevant. It doesn't matter because once they play, Washington doesn't know what to do, how to approach it. Even this weekend, Washington was like, I felt like Washington was playing ball control against the Giants, and I'm sitting there thinking like, why? Like the Giants were having a hard time sustaining drives for the last month. Like, what are you playing ball control for? Like, push the ball downfield, go make some plays. Like, and the problem is they were playing ball control most of the game. And at the end of the game, they needed to make a play and they needed to move down the field, and they didn't have any rhythm to do it because they were kind of like, it felt like they were like playing with their food, but they didn't realize they were the food. They were losing the game.
It makes absolutely no sense with the enemy offense that they were doing what they were doing on Sunday.
I couldn't believe it. And I'm saying this because I wanted them to like push the ball downfield, throw score some points. But but Philly, right? We play against Philly. We got our doors blown. Philly's so much more talented than the Giants. Like I said this last year when they played in the playoffs during the season. Like the talent gap there is just enormous. Like
astronomical.
The Giants play Washington. They sweep them. You guys saw how Washington played Philly twice this year. They took them. They took them down to the wire in both games.
Beat us in Gillette.
They went to overtime in one of them, right?
I think Sam Howell threw for like 800 yards, or maybe like just on like 750 or something like that. And then he plays the Giants, who like their defense has been falling apart. The week before they gave up 40. The week before they gave up 38 or whatever it is. Like they gave the doors blown off every week to Aiden O'Connell. And then they play
my
Washington
boy Aiden O'Connell.
Home, and like Washington doesn't even know how to figure out how to move the ball downfield. And like that. I don't got to tell anybody more than Patriots fans about matchups in the Giants. Like, man, there's some teams that the Giants just can't run with, but then there's some teams that they just seem to, it doesn't matter how long it goes, they just seem to figure it out. It's just football's a very, very strange game sometimes. I mean, I guess that's what makes it fun, but sometimes it's hard to figure it out too.
Fonz, you got anything to add there?
Well, the biggest thing I was going to add on to go back to the rooting for them to lose point. And I think what I mentioned to you and John earlier this week is that I don't think I'll ever really truly wish for them to lose, but I can at least recognize when a win is detrimental to the overall success of the team. And that's certainly what you feel exactly when we're playing the Commanders twice a year. And they're basically just 2 wins over the last, like 2 guaranteed wins over the last 3 seasons or so.
Yeah, I think I told you and John, like, that's your Jets.
Yeah, Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's so weird to me that this team is operating the way it has, especially the transition from this coaching regime between last season and this season. Kafka especially just confounds me because the creativity, the play calling that we were seeing all of last year is just nowhere to be found now. And I don't know what exactly happened for them to start moving in that direction in terms of how they want to run the offense, but they're just not even giving us really a chance to go until we get freaking Tommy DeVito in there, and then they start actually trying to let it fly a little bit more. Like, that just makes no sense to me. There's no reason that a player like DeVito should have a multi-touchdown game 2 weeks in a row for the first time in God knows how long, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially with an offensive mind like Kafka, that should not be as rare of an occurrence as it is.
As for your Tommy DeVito thing, before I move on to my Patriots ripping, I need you to explain to the people who missed it why you could never pull for Tommy DeVito.
Oh, he's just the most
Was it this?
No, well, so that's part of it. That was part of it. After the freaking touchdown to Slayton and he celebrated by doing the Italian thing, that was like, that sent me over it. But the fact that he's like the most North Jersey stereotype person I've ever seen in my life, he answered his favorite food was chicken parm and vodka sauce. Nick, do you understand how North Jersey that
Listen, I'm
is?
not gonna judge too much because my favorite food is chicken parm.
I also love a good chicken parm,
Chicken
but like he's
parm,
doing
you taste
nothing
so
to
good.
improve the image. And the fact that he was also a Don Bosco grad, which is a school that I looked at going to, and they are just the most hoity-toity people I have ever met in the parochial system.
Yep.
It all fits into a perfect mold of somebody that I've just had
Listen,
resentment
it's a
for
cool
since
story.
like my high school days.
It's a cool story. He grew up in Jersey. He's playing back home. He played college.
If you
It's a
take
fun
my
story.
biases out of it, he has a really cool story, and I think he's
He
a
still
player
lives at
that
home with his
could
mom. Like, it's
actually have
Yeah.
some success in the league. But right now, it's just irrational, just absolutely irrational.
I will say this: the Jets game drove me nuts. No fault of DeVito, but like, if he's going to be on the roster as a backup quarterback, and you don't trust him to throw a ball, he shouldn't be on the roster as a backup quarterback. And that's not his fault. It's not like because he can only run the plays that you're drawing up for it, right? So if you're drawing up a run on 98% of the plays, like, and all right, listen, they almost won the game if they don't miss a field goal. But then, in terms of you said with Belichick's coaching has been an issue this year. To me, the Giants personnel wise has been rough this year too. Like, we're gonna know. They said he was healthy. He's healthy. He's healthy. He's missing kicks left and right, and then he missed a big kick. It cost us a game basically, and then they tell us, oh, he's out for the year.
Yep.
Yeah, because he wasn't healthy.
That was frustrating.
Yeah, like
That's happened a lot this year too
I know,
with other
and
teams.
That's personnel that's coaching. And the other thing is, okay, so your kicker's not healthy, right? So he already missed a kick that game. Well, it was a block. I don't know, one of the two. But all right, you got to get 1 yard. Like, and the other thing is that if you kick the field goal and miss it, you're moving them forward 7-8 yards. Whereas if you run it, they get the ball right there on the spot. So like, you couldn't trust your team to get 1 yard. Like, it's 1 yard. Don't do the tush push. You can't. All that does is get our offensive lineman hurt. Crazy.
No, you're just gonna hurt more people.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
But like, just run the ball. Get the first.
If you guys want to see some comedy, watch Mac Jones run the tush push.
it's crazy. The reality of that play is that it's crazy because it should work a lot more for other teams than it does for Philly.
And Mac Jones is just like cup checking people on the way down.
That's how he's trying to get the first
Jason
down.
Kelsey calls his supporters on his podcast the 92 percenters. It's because of that play, because it works so often.
Yeah. Listen, they mastered it. But
Yeah, they did. The credit to them for it, but it's kind of mind-boggling that no other team runs it to the level of success that they do. It seems like it's so obvious, but there's all these little intricacies that you just don't think about, especially on the line of scrimmage itself.
I will never pretend to know the science that goes into that.
Yeah, that's not a science I'm familiar with either.
No, some things don't take a rocket scientist, but because a rocket scientist can't do it, such as calling the Patriots offense. Anyways, my Patriots grievances, my thanks for nothing here. I'm with Fonz in the sense of I can't pull for this team to lose. As much as I can see how it might be better off that we lose, but like for me, it's like I wait all year for like these 17, 18 games and just like looking forward to the weekend every year just so I can watch my favorite football team, whether they suck or they're good. I don't know if I could ever just be like, oh man, I can't wait to watch this draft in April and see who we're gonna get and just watch our draft position every week. And like that's my
buddy. I got news for you. That's how most of the NFL fans live.
It's true. Yeah,
that's
I'm not ignorant.
Is not what other people have.
I'm not
down
ignorant
to the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I am not used to not making the playoffs every year and just being like, oh yeah, who's gonna play in the AFC title game against us in January?
Yeah, I mean, for what was it, 7 years straight or 8 years straight? You guys were in it.
That we were in it.
More than that, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Let me do. So the Sanchez year was basically
no. Forget about that one because the Sanchez year they lost. So
the Sanchez year we didn't make it. That was the last time we didn't make it.
You didn't make it. All right.
So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, didn't make it 19. 8.
Yeah.
8 years. And then we won the division basically every year but 2 under Belichick.
And then every year but 2. What do you mean under Belichick?
Oh, so those 3. 2000 his first year, 2002, and then when Brady blew his ACL, we had 11 wins under Castle.
And missed the playoffs, right?
That was a screwy year.
And missed the playoffs, right? That 2008 is kind of feeling like reminiscent to like this year with how wacky the football's been.
Overall, like the season.
Yeah, and how loaded some divisions are, how weak others are. Just I don't know. Football's been weird this year, but as for the Patriots, I mean, I don't know how it could have gotten worse than it was last year. Just like not even because I'm an ignorant Patriots fan and everything just seems to go my way, because it has. But you hire Bill O'Brien, who's a competent to good offensive coach.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's a step up.
You still have Belichick, who last year, pretty good defense. We've always had pretty good defenses. The personnel, I mean, there was some weird personnel decisions like signing Juju for the same contract you got Jacoby Myers for, a move that I hated from the start. And I got reason.
That was such a weird move. Yeah.
Ryan ridiculed me for that, for me being so mad at losing Juju and losing Jacoby, bringing in Juju.
I don't know why you pay Juju that much money when you know he has knee issues.
GM Belichick, man, I can't. Belichick needs to go. I usually you guys can attest to my my lack of jumping on the popular trains as far as benching the quarterback or firing the coach. I've always been very laxed on that position. I don't really like to make those aggressive stances and those hot take kind of things, but I'm beyond done with Belichick at this point. If he is the coach and Mac Jones is the quarterback in 2024, I'm pretty pissed. Not the hop the wagon piss, because the only time I lose my team is if they do Deshaun Watson. But
I feel like, well, you said that you think they're gonna wait for him to at least break the wins record, right? When would that be?
That's what I thought. But after this year, God, I don't know how.
How many more wins does he need?
17 to break or 17 to tie. I can't remember.
I think it's 16 to tie, 17.
If Mac Jones is the quarterback, that's gonna take about 5 more years.
Yeah, he's got at minimum another 2 or 3 years of work at minimum, and he's 71, 72.
Yeah, but I don't get the feeling that he's. I do think part of him wants to prove that not that he doesn't need Brady. Obviously, having Brady helps, but like I think part of him wants to prove that whatever's going on here isn't all on him. Like there's more to, even though he's a coach on the GM, right? I know. I'm not saying that he's right.
I'd love to hear his rationale.
I think he would want like a different scenario to kind of show like, because like here's the thing, right? Let's say he goes to the Chargers, right? Let's say he goes to Chargers, and the Chargers really haven't accomplished anything the last 3-4 years. Yeah, they have talent, but they've gone nowhere with it. If he goes there and they get to like an AFC champion, or whatever, or a Super Bowl, something like that, like it kind of reminds me of similar. It would make sense. Bill Parcells, like Parcells won.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
right. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants, retired, and then he left, and then he went to the Patriots. He didn't win a Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl. He went to the Jets, took him to the AFC Championship game, and taking the Jets to the AFC Championship is no laughing matter. It's not easy to do that. They're pretty down on the luck franchise. The Cowboys didn't really work out.
That was the twilight, man. He
That
brought
was a
in
twilight,
Drew.
you know?
He brought in Drew goddamn Bledsoe in like 2006 when he was cooked. Bledsoe had
Yeah.
nothing left to give.
And that's how he gave way to Romo. He basically set them up with Romo, and Romo was their quarterback for 10 seasons.
Yeah, no, it was pretty close, but I don't know.
He didn't have a lot of success, but he left them in a better situation.
No, it's true.
So listen. He didn't win a Super Bowl with Dallas, but that's part of his legacy as well. Like, he left situations better than he took them over. All those teams are better off for having hired him than they were for not having hired him. They didn't go in the wrong direction. From him leaving, the year after they left, they were 13-3. I think. Yeah, because they lost the 06 game was when they lost to Seattle with the fake
field goal. Yeah,
or the botched field. 07 they were
the botched field goal.
They were 13-3. They had 11 Pro Bowlers, and then they lost Eli Manning in the division. So
yeah. I think when the Belichick hot seat rumors were first coming out, I said it'd probably be really, really bad if we fired him in the middle of the year. Actually, I didn't say that. One of our guests that we had a couple weeks ago, my boy Trent, made a really good point that if you fire Belichick mid-season, good luck trying to get another coach to come in.
You can't fire him mid-season.
You can't fire.
I don't care how bad he is.
He's earned the right to be respectfully
right,
pushed out at the end of the season.
Here's my thing: the Giants didn't fire Gettleman. They let him bring his family on the field for the last game of the year. At which point, to me, he had no business doing that.
Well, Belichick's family is already on the coaching staff, so they're already on the field on game day.
It always drove me nuts. I don't know about you, Drew, but it always drove me nuts that they let him leave with all that
pomp and circumstance,
feel good, dignity kind of thing. And then Jerry Reese earned his firing. That's not the argument. He earned his term. Jerry Reese helped us win 2 championships. I will always credit him for that. The first, 4 years of his career, I love Jerry Reese. Even the misses that he had, I love the shots that he took. Literally, that's how much I love Jerry Reese the first 4 or 5 years. From that point on, from 2012 on, basically, he was really, really rough. He had that one free agency binge that time turned us around a little bit and made us competitive for a year.
That was the snacks, Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, but in reality, to me, the reason you had to spend all that money is because you missed so much over the past 2-3 years. So I'm not gonna allow you, I'm not gonna applaud you that much because you went out and bought a bunch of players who were all pros, plus players, above average players, and they made an impact like they did what they're supposed to do. I get it, but you can't have a spending spree like that every year to build your team. That's not a plausible scenario.
And the impact was just getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round. Anyway.
Right, yeah. Okay, and listen, they were a better team that year, but they also had a soft schedule. They won a lot of one-possession games. That whole year was weird, though, because, the year before, the Giants' offense was really good. Defense stunk. So then you went into the season, if the defense can be just, 8th, and the offense is still good, the Giants can be a really good team. The defense was elite, and the offense just – Eli had started cratering out and stuff like that, too, so it's kind of where – we started kind of going off and then the next year they were really, really bad. So that feels
part of the Gettleman aspect and the end of his tenure there, I think, has more to do with the fact that they're trying to at least show a little bit of respect to him for going through all the cancer stuff and then the legacy he had during the Ernie Accorsi days. I think that's really the only reason they showed him as much respect as they did when they walked him out the door.
I hated his arrogance because he was bad at his job, which all right, people are bad at the job. You hired him.
He was bad at his job, and he thought he was hot.
Right. I don't think he wanted to be bad at his job. I would imagine no GM hired. Everyone wants to be bad at the job. It's their legacy, it's their resume. So I know that he was doing things that he genuinely believed in, but none of it was working out, and he was defending all of it, like we were the ones wrong for questioning it. That drove me nuts. I hated that.
He was so stuck in his ways, and that
oh
really.
my god! And you literally hired us a 70-year-old to just fix a team in 2018. What do we And you could tell the game had passed him by. He had these.
Talk about stuck in your ways. I got some examples for you.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we knew he was stuck there when he made the Barkley pick. So it's really not that surprising.
Well, I mean, listen. Belichick's still trading out of first round picks in 2023. We're drafting safeties in the second round from D3 schools and then don't re-sign them. We hold on to players we have no intention of re-signing. Belichick still thinks that he's got this game down to a science. And
I had to laugh when you told me earlier that you said that your ways were Belichickian when you were talking about importing picks in your dynasty. And I'm like, that's the exact opposite of what Belichick has been doing.
No, he gets all the picks. Like, he has like 17 picks every year. He just trades out of them every single time.
You have multiple first rounders. That's the difference.
I traded away one. I got Bryce Young in my with one of those trades. Hasn't worked out so far. I got
that's a rough.
It's early year.
I got some this week, but
it's not looking great. But the Panthers are set up just about as poorly as our two teams are. So I'm willing to give it at least another year with Bryce.
Young, no. I mean, like, they're not gonna come in. Like, Young doesn't look good, and it's just magnified by the fact that Stroud does look really good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's not doing him any favors at all.
No, it doesn't. And
if you put Bryce Young in Houston,
you'd be like, all right, whatever.
If you put Bryce Young in Houston, maybe it's a little different. Maybe it's a little different.
If you put Bryce Young in Houston, he looks competent.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't be talking about him being a bust.
I think CJ Stroud still looks like ass if he's in Carolina. He looks bad.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know about that because, like, all right, I know it's hard to do this now, but like, look back 4 months ago, right? You look at Houston's roster. We didn't think Houston's roster was good. Like,
no, right? A lot of players are overperforming. Yeah,
right. Like Nico Collins, I like Nico Collins coming out too. So I'm like, I might be dumping on him, but like, we kind of felt like he was kind of like just a guy, you know, who knew what Tank Dell was going to be, kind of undersized guy. Robert Woods, a veteran, but he hasn't really produced in the last couple of years. You know, they get signed Dalton Schultz, who, all right, he's an advocate. The offensive line was like, you know, whatever. Like, Houston's a really bad team last year. They weren't like average. They were really, really bad. And they didn't add that much to that roster. They just put Stroud, and now, like, they're, what are they, 6-5?
Yeah, 6-4.
That's 6, whatever. Like, I wouldn't expect them to win 6 games, let alone win 6 of the first 9 games.
Yeah, I think you also have to factor in the intangibles of having a player coach like D'Amico Ryans come in. Like, if you have somebody that can motivate you to actually play well, that makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, coaching is important. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but we've segued perfectly into our roundtable segment. This one, we talk about league-wide issues, some things that we caught our attention over the weekend or over the season for some of us who are part-timers on the show. John, we kind of excluded you last time. Let's jump right into some things that you're seeing around the league that have caught your attention. Maybe some fantasy players that you have that have really started to pop for you. I know those Nazi punchers are looking excellent right now. Made me do a review for the Puddle of Mud album. Jesus Christ. But John, what's catching your eye?
Dynasty team's the only decent thing I have going for me right now. Actually, but yeah, the Denver Broncos look pretty legit. Ride finally started. Finally riding. I think.
Well, for the car to start.
Yeah, about goddamn time. Oh gosh, the Chiefs look a little bit out of sorts this week. I think that receiver set that we had was, yeah, it's strange.
It's weird to watch now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for the last 6 years, I think, since Mahomes has been the quarterback, the Chiefs' identity has always been passing offense, this, that, like, and Mahomes is still great, but that offense just, like, I feel like they don't know what they want to do. Because, like,
we're not asking Mahomes to do as much, it seems like.
Right, which is fine, like, if it works, but somebody put up a stat, they're like last in the league in second half points this year, that's
they haven't scored a point in the second half in their last like 2 or 3 games.
I think it's been like a month because they had a bye mixed in too, or something like that.
Yeah,
and but like they were really, really sloppy last night. Like, last night was like, Andy Reid is a great coach, super prepared, stuff like that. That was one of like the sloppiest coming out of a bye. Like, you remember Andy Reid's record when he was in Philly? Out of the bye, he was like 16-1 or something like that. He used to never lose games coming out of the bye. Listen, granted, Philadelphia's a really good team. So, like, if you're going to lose out of the bye, that's the team you lose to. But they didn't lose to Philly
for a reason.
Right, exactly. They didn't lose to Philly because
lost,
they got outplayed. They lost to Philly because they made so many like dumb mistakes. Like, Mahomes' interception early was a bad one. Kelsey's fumbled. MVS, nobody was surprised by him dropping that.
Too.
Right, yeah, that's but it's just weird because they don't really have an identity right now. They're not a high-powered offense. They like to run the ball, and I've never seen somebody run more violent than Pacheco. It's just nuts.
Pacheco is a monster. I was telling Tim that last night when I was watching the game.
It's crazy. I've never.
Tim is actually going to be a guest on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh God, that's a trip.
Yeah, it's gonna be something for sure. I don't know how I'm gonna handle that.
I don't know if you guys seen the memes of Pacheco.
Timmy's pretty unique.
Like him running the ball. Like I seen one where it had two doors that were broken, slammed open,
just blown in.
Yeah, and it said what happened here is Isaiah Pacheco ran for 3 yards or something like that. So
dude runs like he's trying to put divots into the field every time he puts his foot down. It's insane. The amount of power he gets in behind his legs.
He had a run last year. I forget against who, but it literally looked like he found some open yard right off the tackle, the left tackle, and he looks like he got shot out of a cannon because he just zoomed past it, and not that he has bad speed, but he's not Devin A. Chain or anything like that. You weren't expecting. He was out running, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! I'm surprised that he fell so long. Nobody saw any of this. And I didn't know much about him either, to be fair, so I'm not even judging. But nobody saw outside of Tim, obviously.
Tim knew what was up.
Yeah, of course.
He's a Rutgers boy. He's a Rutgers boy. Of course he was going to.
Is he? That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
He's a Rutgers running back. That's why Tim loves him.
Yeah, I didn't think it was the Chiefs.
Well, that just made it even better.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, how often do you get that that Rutgers Chiefs crossover? You get a lot of Rutgers
NFL crossovers these days.
Oh, hey! We had a whole secondary filled with Rutgers players at one point.
True, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fonz, you have any thoughts from league-wide stories? I know you've been tracking a couple of different things through our fantasy league here as the league statistician. Any trends that you've noticed?
Yeah, our scoring's going to go down a bunch with how many players got hurt this past week.
No kidding.
That's not great because you had Burrow and Andrews go down for at least Burrow's done for the season.
They say Andrews has an outside chance of coming back for the playoffs.
Yeah, Andrews might come back for the playoffs. I think Burrow. I don't think Burrow's done for the season or anything, right?
I saw Burrow's done. That's what I've been.
Oh, he's done. Okay,
yeah,
so that's
Burrow's done.
Yeah, so that hurts them significantly. Then you had. I think Aaron Jones was ruled out, and he's done for the season now.
I didn't know if he's done for the season. I saw a knee sprain.
It's an MCL, yeah.
MCL, okay.
Traded him away,
but I mean, with Green Bay, it kind of depends on where are they going to be in a month.
Yeah, Green Bay's a kind of an anomalous team themselves because they feel like they should be better than they are. But
dude, I want to know what the vibes are on Jordan Love in Green Bay. What do Green Bay fans think about Jordan Love right now?
Well, they're only outspoken
Green Bay fan. I
can't
tell you what they think about him.
I don't know
I can tell you what I think about him.
I know what Nick thinks about Jordan Love.
I mean,
excited
you
guys
about watch him. You guys think he's anything to write home about? I don't.
No, he is a stark contrast from the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers that they were coming from.
I mean, that's besides.
No one is going to be able to replace that tandem, especially coming out of what is this now? His fifth season.
Third or fourth? I can't remember.
Season.
Yeah. But, I mean...
No, it's got to be... I think it's his third season.
He was drafted in the COVID year.
Yeah, he was drafted 2020, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was working with the other place when he got drafted.
Okay,
yeah, so this is his fourth season. And they basically just have to make it... Because did they give him his fifth year?
That's the thing. I thought that they still had the option. But
well, let me look. Keep talking.
Yeah, somebody... Anyway,
well, what year was Burrow drafted?
2020.
2020.
So then it is his fourth year.
Yeah.
Because that's who
the Packers declined it, and instead they gave him a 2-year extension.
That's right. Okay.
That's what it was.
Remember that sound.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not a huge Jordan Love fan. I think he's okay. I think he looks a little too reckless for having supposedly learned from Aaron Rodgers over the last 3 years.
Maybe the most careful quarterback behind Tom Brady.
Like the guy that we were touting his touchdown to interception ratio for years and years and years, basically before the last couple seasons with the Packers. Like, you would think Love would have picked up on some of that preparation, and it just seems like he hasn't. And even with Matt LaFleur still there, they still have a decent amount of weapons. I really like their young wide receivers that are out there. They just don't seem like they have it together, even though they really should, which is very strange to me.
A lot of quarterback issues with the Green Bay Packers, like lead back to mentorship issues. Like from what I'd heard, Brett Favre never taught Aaron Rodgers a damn thing. So he was prepping on. So
you could
whatever
tell considering Rodgers is better than Favre.
Yeah, because he wasn't a freaking gunslinger when he took over. That's why.
Yeah.
Right.
But I wouldn't necessarily call Love a gunslinger either. Like, it's not like he reverted back to what they had with Brett Favre. He's somewhere in the middle, and it's just not great.
I don't know where he
very
learned
mediocre.
It's not very good.
No, I'm not. I know that Ryan is a big fan of Jordan Love, mostly because he has him in the fantasy league. But I remember early, he kind of cursed him as soon as Ryan said that he thought Love was him and the Packers were going to go win that division. It was a reactionary take for sure. But he's the reactionary one of us too.
Oh, a reactionary take went bad. Colored me shocked.
Yeah, no, right. And as soon as Ryan said that, like, yeah, Jordan Love is the shit, we started to the stat sheet started to show how kind of raw he still is 3 years later.
I will say, and I know you guys all balance it too. Nothing will make you more enamored or convinced about a player than him being on your dynasty. Like, there's nothing that you're gonna be more convinced about. Like, I remember I was big on, I still am, Cortland Sutton. I got Cortland Sutton like 4 years ago. And then he had that 1 year we had like 1,200 yards. And I've literally been waiting for like 3 years for him to get back to that. And this year he's actually having a pretty good season. So you're patting the back.
It's all touchdowns.
Like, right, yeah. But hey, you know what? Touchdowns are better than no touchdowns.
I just traded him away in my dynasty league, so I took advantage of that.
I mean, listen, I will say this in terms of for him. I've never been big on Judy. I never understood the hype about Judy. I don't think Denver's super committed to Judy moving forward. So I think they'd rather hold on to Sutton than Judy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Or maybe they.
I just don't understand why they wouldn't trade him. They got like
so many trade rumors.
They wanted. I guess they weren't getting what they hoped to get for him. But I don't know.
Didn't the team offer like a second and a fifth or something?
Probably.
I mean, maybe that's a story. I don't know how true it is.
BR sent me something. Who's going to be a guest in a month? About an offer that they got for Judy, and they did because I had just traded for him. I got rid of Cam Akers like a day before he popped his Achilles. Yeah, I got insane luck. I screwed over Ken with J.K. Dobbins last year too. But yeah, I traded for Judy, and me and BR are talking. We're like, yeah, it seems like we should be that we're committed to him because we didn't trade him, but we turned down this deal, but we're just not seeing the production on the field. So I have no idea what the hell is going on in Denver. But this year it started off slow and then they come on. They just had a huge win against Minnesota. Kind of a resurgent team over there. I don't know.
Figuring it out a little bit. It seems like they're settling in.
And I guess this will be the take before we get back to our shitty favorite teams. This will be the last conversation point that I have. As far as the Minnesota Vikings in their future, one, does Kirk Cousins get that win on Sunday night if he's in there? And two, did that loss take the Minnesota Vikings out of that division chase?
Like the division chase, I would have said, yeah. Because, I mean, I just think Detroit, top and bottom, is a better team right now. Not that Minnesota's bad, but just Detroit's, they got the...
So you're a buyer on Detroit?
Yeah. I mean, relatively to what they are. Like, listen, the NFC is... Look, to me, the NFC is three teams and then everybody else. So, like, in terms of talent-wise, like the gap between Philly, Dallas, San Francisco, it's those three, and then everybody else is there. I would argue that Detroit is... pretty entrenched as the 4 team, as the number 4 team there. Like that's how I would argue. Now, I would argue that there's a gap between them and the other 3 teams. But listen, if they get let's say they win the division, right? They get a home game. Let's say Dallas goes on the road and beats somebody tough, whatever the case is. I can see them hosting Dallas or Philly or whatever, whichever one of those 2 teams wins a wild card, whatever. I can see those teams going on the road and beating a team. So like whichever one of them hosts, if Detroit hosts the NFC Championship game, then crazier things have happened. You know, like
Right.
Detroit does play a lot better at home, but I don't think they would be. I don't think they'd be in a position to host a championship game. At least
well,
not
that's what I'm
this
saying. If the wild card team beats a higher seed, it's not implausible.
year. You would need somebody to come out, and you would basically need the 6 or the 7 seed to beat whoever the 1 seed's going to be for that to happen. And I don't see any of the teams that are going to be coming out of the wild card beating what I'm assuming is going to be either Philly or San Francisco.
Because keep in mind, Detroit's a 2 seed right now.
What's their
Who's
record?
Who's the
They're
1
8-2.
seed in the NFC?
Oh Jesus Christ! They're 8
Yeah,
and 2.
but that's what I mean though. Like they're 8-2.
I
Like,
did not realize that.
They're not a 6-4. Like you know.
Well, the 2 losses they got, it's Seattle and
Seattle at home, and then they lost to.
the Niners.
Did they play San Fran? I don't think they played San Francisco yet.
Oh, okay.
I
God,
remember who they lost to, but yeah, I mean they're 8-2. They're only a game back.
the Ravens.
Right, that's right. Yeah, they got punched by the Ravens.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah.
they're
Their
8-2.
schedule might be to
And,
their
and
benefit then.
Philly still has to go to. Philly still has to go to Dallas, and I think they have to go either to San Francisco or they play San Francisco.
Philly also plays Buffalo this week, don't
And
they?
they play Buffalo too. Like
Yeah,
they
Buffalo's got a tough
Philly's
stretch
got
too.
a tough road because Philly is the 1 seed at 9-1 right now.
Right.
Damn, I didn't know Philly was that good.
I mean,
I didn't know they were
look at-
9-1.
Listen, Philly's next 7 games aren't easy.
Yeah.
Buffalo, San Fran, Dallas, at Seattle, which all right, I mean they should beat them, but Seattle's pretty good at home. And then they got a couple of juggernauts: the Giants, Arizona, and the Giants.
No, that's the real test of the schedule. There,
It's a
are you a
gauntlet.
good
It's
team?
a gauntlet. That's all it is.
Hey, can you take out the Giants and the Cardinals? And you got Kyler Murray Cardinals. Damn it, this isn't the Josh Dobbs show.
Josh
But-
Dobbs been good.
Tom
Should have
Interview
been the
is gonna
Josh
run down
Dobbs.
the field
But
I think
on
Philly
Josh
touchdown.
Dobbs, my last question before we go to our shitty teams, then we have our pick 'em where we have a little fun. Does Kirk Cousins get that win on Sunday Night Football? I think he does, but I'm a big Kirk
Probably.
guy.
I don't know. It's
Oh,
tough
it's
to
prime
tell.
time though. You got to remember that.
It is
Maybe.
prime time.
Hey,
He won his
Is
last
he?
game in prime time. Too.
He is shaking that
Yes,
ghost a
yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
to
I mean,
see.
I would have guessed that he would. Listen, Dobbs has been good. I mean,
no,
He
Dobbs
makes-
has been impressive, but like
he's
I
just a
don't know.
different- a different
I don't know
dynamic.
how much I buy into Dobbs as a long term option.
He's not, but
He's in
You
that.
think if he's
weird
ready to
area
move
where,
past
like,
Kirk Cousins,
feel
that they
like-
would give him a contract?
for who? For Dobbs?
Like if they're ready to move off Cousins since he's like older and he's got
I can
that
see.
I can see
Dobbs
that.
getting a contract like remember how Teddy Bridgewater got that contract?
something like a bridge.
Carolina.
they'll give
where
him
it's
like
like-
30, 35 mil a year or something, and he can keep doing what he's doing. But like
I mean, I guess. Yeah. That's just a lot. I
that's
don't know.
that's what the market is these days,
It-
though.
it
Especially
is,
for how
yeah.
well Dobbs has been playing. That's
I
what
mean,
the-
hey,
that's what
listen,
he's
Jimmy G's making
demanding.
33 a year,
Yeah.
and
That's such a weird. That was such a weird contract. I didn't understand.
I mean, as soon as
Technically, so was
that
Kirk's.
happened, for Vegas, I'm like, this isn't gonna last the year. You're gonna maybe make it out of September before
what
this
I
thing
didn't
implodes.
understand is they gave him that deal, and there was rumors about them trying to trade up. At which point I'm like, why? Then all right, I'm not saying don't get anybody, but like, why would you pay a quarterback $35 million to get his replacement before he takes a snap? And then he had the issue during the summer with his what was it, his foot?
Yeah,
And they were
he
having
had.
issues. He might not pass the physical. They might be able to cut that. I actually thought that they were going to use that to get out of his deal.
Yeah.
Now,
No, I didn't think that. I thought that they had to have done their due diligence to give him the contract
I mean, it
like
is the
that.
Raiders.
It's true. It is Josh McDaniels. But Ding Dong, the witch is dead. He'll be back in Foxborough next season.
You think so?
Oh yeah. If we do the whole, here's how I think the Patriots offseason is going to go. Before we get into this Patriots Giants preview, Belichick's going to get fired or traded, mutual parting ways, whatever the hell it is.
Mhm.
Bill O'Brien's going back to college. He's going to take that Michigan State job that he's been rumored to take since this thing kind of imploded.
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name. But yeah.
I think Gerard Mayo is going to be our head coach. I think Josh McDaniels is going to be our OC because who's going to hire Josh McDaniels?
Other than
Anybody?
Matthew.
I don't think Josh McDaniels is ever getting a head coach job again.
No, never.
You think
As
Mayo's
that-
going to be your D'Amico Ryans essentially?
Not even that. He's going to be a bridge. I don't think Mayo's a long-term solution either. I think we really just need to clean house. We won't, but
Yeah.
I think Mayo would stay here and head coach the Patriots before he like leaves to Washington to help out Bill. Like I think Mayo is probably here to stay, and I think McDaniels would come back unless Belichick wanted to have McDaniels, which I mean, however the relationship that goes, whatever it is. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if McDaniels is back here. Do I want it? I don't know. I mean, he's the only guy that made Mac Jones look half decent. But
That's true.
Yeah.
To the game at hand, we've done the window dressing a little bit. Patriots traveled to MetLife Stadium for a showdown against a historic rival. Obviously, we've got a lot of history here. Really quickly, because we've done a lot of talking. As much as I've loved it, we are rubbing it just a little bit. Let's just talk about what we're looking for. As Giants fans, what are you looking at the Patriots to maybe win? How you're going to win this game? How you're going to lose this game? What you're really worried about? What you're excited about? However you want to frame it, and then I'll do the same thing at the end. John, I'm sorry to keep starting off with you, but we haven't heard a ton of your voice, so I want to give you every opportunity to show off.
I like to listen. But,
he's like listening to the podcast. That
He's getting
on.
the free preview.
Right on. Yeah. But with this game, you said about excitement. There's not a lot.
No, right. Facetious. Yeah.
It's going to be tragic either way. We can either like win and like, yeah, or we're going to lose and.
Oh yeah.
Losses. You know? I don't want to lose the game. I want to lose the game for the draft.
You don't want to lose it, or you
don't
don't want to lose it?
It would be beneficial for us to lose.
Yeah.
Oh, John, what are you looking for?
Win, but not for this. Hopefully, a victory. Yuck. But a win. I think we could win this game. This is, like I said earlier, this is one of the only games on the sheet that I was like, I think we're gonna have a big problem losing that if we're like out of it by now, and we're out of it by now. So, because we're not a good team. Like, I don't care what happened last week. I don't care about Tommy DeVito's little Cinderella story game. Like, he can tell his kids about that for generations and generations. It was the Washington Commanders, and they're bad, and we kick the shit out of them every time. My apologies for that. But yeah, we're gonna go right back to standard practice this week. We're gonna lose to a bad football team, I think.
All right, so the confidence isn't here.
You know what the problem is? The problem is that both teams, even though they should be playing to lose, neither of these teams are playing to lose. Belichick has never gone to game plan. That I know for a fact. And then Dable's not trying to lose games. The second year here, I'm not saying he's on the hot seat, but I don't think he's entrenched to the point where like they can lose games by 30 points a game.
Temperature's up just a little bit. There's a little kick in the ass happening.
I mean, that's almost encouraging to a point, right? Like, you want to still see your players trying for their coach, especially
that's why I said it before too. Like, I want them to lose as a fan of the outsider, but like me having the expectation for them to go into every game and lose 42-3. Like,
I want them to lose as they were showing that they're trying to win.
Yeah, that's the best case. At least 24-20.
I think Fonz, I think I've said those words directly about the Patriots at one point.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't think we're getting to 42 total points in this game, but you know.
Dude, I'd be shocked if we hit 30. I'd be shocked if we hit 30.
Do you want to know what the over-under is right now?
Sure.
It'd be like 33.
It is 33.5.
Damn, Nick, you're betting too much.
I do not doubt Nick in these matters at all.
I'll make you laugh. I actually haven't bet in a while. Getting those lines, I've actually been pretty good at them. Like, you actually tell me the game out. Within a couple of points, I'll usually get you to watch.
Hammer the under. Hammer.
So it's weird because like the Giants defense, like the last 6-7 weeks, you're either getting an elite defensive effort or you're getting like a dumpster fire. There's zero in between. You're either getting the Giants against Buffalo, who really took it to Buffalo, who was a much better offense than us. They really were tough on the Jets too, except for like a couple of plays like that. And then I guess watching them both times, they kind of beat them in Washington. But then they get the doors blown off by Dallas. The Raiders beat the piss out of us. Like, so it's weird because you don't know what Giants team you're gonna get. Now the argument is made: are the Patriots capable of putting up offense enough Right, exactly. So, but listen, I would have told you that Aiden O'Connell wasn't capable of doing it either. And like, they scored, I don't know what they scored, 37 or whatever it was. Something crazy. They put up.
They scored 30, I think.
That was
Well,
it?
it's not going to have to
It
come
felt
from
like
It was
Mac
more.
just 30
Jones.
points.
Teams have just been
Only
running
30
on
points.
us to kill us.
Yeah, we've been struggling against a run too. Yeah. So
Ramondre.
Yeah,
and,
Mondre is going to be where you guys kill us for sure. Like
Yeah.
I don't think your wideouts
Even
match up
catching
that
the ball,
well
he's
at
gonna-
all on the outside, even though we're still starting 2 rookies on the outside.
Well, I mean,
Banks has
Jesus
looked
Christ,
pretty
if we would stop handing the ball to Zeke like it's 2016, maybe we'd have a chance.
I mean, Zeke has shown flashes this year. Like
He
not
looked
what he
better than I
used to
thought,
be,
yeah.
but he's definitely shown 2016 flashes still.
I don't know. Anytime I see Zeke with the ball, I'm like, give it to Dre. But there's also a bias in that too. As a Ramondre owner,
He's a better runner on contact, I think. But Mondre gets you more of that burst and shiftiness that you want to see in your running game.
I mean, if our offensive line could just create a hole, I mean, I think our run game would be fine. But
Well, that's why you've been using Zeke, because he can try to create that hole a little bit better than Mondre can. Which I agree. No biases aside, I may have him on my fantasy team, but you should be using Mondre more. For sure.
No, for sure. I think Nick kind of put this, or somebody put this together perfectly. Somebody mentioned, are the Patriots going to score points? No, we are not. We are not capable of scoring touchdowns. We don't do it. We get into the red zone and we puke all over ourselves and we kick a field goal, or we get sacked out of field goal range.
We don't do that here.
So
your question
touchdown.
your question of ineptitude is going to come down to, can the Giants defense show an elite showing again? And is that going to be counteracted by the fact that Bill still has a way to completely emasculate rookies when he plays against them?
No, that's true. That's definitely your offense.
It's going to be DeVito again.
Your offense is gonna look weird because Belichick's gonna get you all uncomfortable and out of sorts. I mean, that's a guarantee. It's a rookie quarterback. It can get a little weird, but what's that matter if we can't score points ourselves?
I still think the Giants will end up winning this game because of how instinctive they're letting DeVito play. Like, they're not giving him cupcake throws to make to the boundaries or over the middle. They're actually letting him try to
some of those throws are really hard for quarterbacks. Okay.
They're actually letting him kind of just make his own reads and actually letting him sling it a little bit. And I think that sort of, not necessarily gunslinger, I don't really want to say that again, but actually being able to like kind of go for a feel of the game rather than just sticking to a script is going to help him develop a little bit more. It's just a question of if Belichick is going to confuse him enough to force him to make all the mistakes that we were seeing him make in like the Jets game, because our offensive line is still not going to give him a whole lot of time to work with. He got sacked 9 times against Washington and he still won. Like, I imagine you guys.
And that was with a Washington pass rush that's like non-existent anymore between Young gone and Sweat gone.
Right. And their third string pass rusher got hurt in like the first or second possession of the game. So like
you're playing with bouncers at bars at that point.
Yeah, he hurt himself on DeVito's second sack, and they got 7 more after that. So, like,
unbelievable.
Our offensive line isn't doing anything to help DeVito here. It's just a question of if we can move the ball quickly enough down the field, and our defense can hold you guys down enough. And I think they do that, and I think they end up winning the game because of that, despite our invested interests. But
I think this game is going to remind you a lot of, I don't know if you guys saw this game too, last year Patriots-Jets. In Gillette Stadium, where the game ended on a punt return touchdown. I don't think that this game ends on a punt return touchdown. Like, I don't think it's that wild, but it's gonna end like 6-9, 6-12.
Yeah, I could see like a 13-9 something.
It might end on a punt fumble return for a touchdown
between our special teams units. Yeah.
Yeah, if Eric Gray is still returning punts for us, I think that's pretty reasonable.
No, isn't it Gunner for the Patriots legend?
Oh, right, we got Gunner.
That's Jesus Christ!
Listen, the Giants punt return was so bad this year that he was actually the best that we've had.
Yeah, we thought Gunner was a better option.
He caught the ball cleanly. He got a couple of yards forward, and I was like, "Oh, this is great! You can actually go forward."
Man,
that's how bad it was. Like the first, and not for nothing. That's another thing that really pissed me off. Last year we weren't good at punt return either. At one point we put Adore back there, and then we lost him from him. Like, we clearly had issues at punt return and didn't do anything to fix it in the offseason.
We still had
issues again this season. Like,
we kept putting so many players back there that
I
know, never returned punts before.
I don't get that. You know why I don't understand why they didn't use Campbell to do it. You don't use him for anything else anyway. And you use him on kick returns. Try him there.
We gave him what, like $11 million on a 1-year deal or something?
No, I think it was less. It was like 6 maybe. But
Oh no,
I don't even know who's returning punts for the Patriots nowadays. It was Marcus Jones, and obviously he got hurt. I think he think it was a collarbone injury or something. Yeah, and he was the best punt returner in the league last year. Several kick returns returned to the house. He won us a couple of games. I think it might be Pop Douglas back there, and he's been all right, but he's our best weapon on offense. Jeez, guys, I don't want to talk about this game anymore. I don't. So we're gonna go right into our pick'em. It's a Thanksgiving slate, so we got some games on Thursday that we're gonna enjoy. We got a Black Friday game this year, and some other things in between that are pretty cool.
We got a full 16 games. No one is on bye.
Is this no? There's teams on bye next week too, isn't there? So they just
said next week and week 14, but there's no.
So they just said Thanksgiving. Everybody's here.
Honestly, they're so stupid with the buys. What they need to do.
The buys are really dumb this year because it was this week and I think week 8 that also didn't have any buys.
They're done with it. They should just pick 8 weeks, put 4 teams on a bye every single week, and that's it. Like you don't need to have 8 teams on bye.
What I think would be cool, and maybe it's stupid, and you guys can feel free to tell me it's stupid.
Put a whole division on a bye?
No. Put the whole league on bye at the trade deadline.
You're not giving
like an all-star break.
No. They would never do that. They would lose too much money.
Never doing that.
Ah, well, it was worth a shot. The first game on Thursday. Oh, wait, I forgot to recap last week. Last week, in our Week 11 pick'em, I beat Ryan with a score of 11-10. Suck on that. But we're on to a new week with our new pals, Fonz, John, and Nick. So we're going to get right to it. The first game, John, it's Green Bay at Detroit. Who's winning this game?
The 8-2 Lions.
8-2
Yeah, the Detroit Lions. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I got Detroit too.
Everybody's feeling Detroit?
It's got to be Detroit.
I'll save you the trouble. I like all the home teams on.
Fair enough. So the next game is Washington at Dallas. Washington coming off that big win against the Giants. Dallas been one of the better teams in football this year. Waiting for them to cowboy it up, but they just haven't yet. I'm taking Dallas. Anybody else disagree before we get to the fun ones?
No.
Good.
Dallas will do it.
San Francisco traveling to Seattle. This is going to be a pretty good game.
San Fran's in Seattle? Oh, then
yeah.
I like San Fran.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I was like, are you sure you like all the home teams?
No, for some reason I thought San Fran was home.
No, especially with the Seahawks missing both Geno and Kenneth Walker.
I know that Geno's like questionable. They thought I know Pete Carroll's been like talking like he's going to be good,
game,
but
so I don't know if
he did. But he was did not participate at practice on Monday. I don't know if he practiced today or not. But he's.
I like San Francisco even if Geno starts, and if Geno doesn't start, then I will love.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm right there with you.
Francisco.
I think if everything is even and healthy, it could be an interesting game. But San Fran, they're way too goddamn talented, and like we said, the injuries to Seattle's not helping. But our first Black Friday game in history, the Miami Dolphins are traveling to MetLife to take on the Jets. I think it's a weird kind of contest, but I'm comfortably taking Miami. I think that the Jets are gonna give them some great field position, and at some point you can't screw it up. So I'll take the Dolphins, but I'll hear a case for the Jets if anybody has one.
Tim Boyle is starting for the Jets, and that's my case for the Dolphins.
It's a Tim Boyle-led offense. There's not really much of a case.
Can you imagine if, like, all of a sudden this Jets offense takes a 180, and all of a sudden Tim Boyle is like pushing them and holding them steady until Rodgers comes back in a couple of weeks and they're in a playoff mix?
Not going to happen, but that'd be funny.
I can't imagine that. No, I can't. I can't see that at all.
Does Rodgers come back?
No.
I don't think so.
He keeps saying he's going to, and I keep not believing him.
I don't believe that. But not only that, but also like, all right, listen, Zach Wilson stinks. Their offensive line is not good, whether Zach Wilson's good or not. Like, he's gonna come back. He can barely move. He's 39 years old, and what? Scramble away from. He got hurt week 1 because somebody got around the line and hit him. Like, the offensive line hasn't gotten better since then.
4 snaps into the game too. It's not like it took a while to get there.
Such a Jets thing. Yeah. Like, not even to laugh at them, but just such a Jets thing that
I mean, I'll laugh at the Jets.
That's fine. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Up next, the Saints without Derek Carr, probably. I mean, is he still in concussion protocol?
He might play.
He is, but I think he'll clear. That's why
I think they expect him to clear protocol this week, so he might play.
he just hasn't
And
cleared it yet. Yeah.
Then slant boy Mike Thomas goes to IR. It's a banged up Saints team. They're going to Atlanta, take on the Falcons. This is going to be a trashy game. I feel bad for anybody who's subject to watch this. I took probably the New Orleans Saints, right? Yep, I took the Saints. I wouldn't blame anybody for taking the Falcons. Let's go around the table. Who's got who?
I like New Orleans too.
I'm tempted to say the Falcons, if only because it finally seems like they're starting to want to utilize the weapons that they have, and they are at home. It's a
Ritter's
weird
starting, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, with Ritter starting is what's holding me back. If it was still Heineke, I think I would be more on the Falcons. But the fact that Ritter is still there, like he pushes the ball down the field more than Heineke does. But I think the Saints defense is good enough that the mistakes that Ritter is going to make is going to be not going to go well for them. So I'm probably taking the Saints here.
John,
I
anything
thought it was
different?
Heineke. If it would have been Heineke, I would have went with them. But New Orleans, yeah.
I think I actually would have taken Atlanta if Heineke started. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's holding me back is if the Saints don't have Carr. That
Famous
changes.
Jameis.
God.
It kind of depends on
Falcons
which
by
game
100 if it's Jameis.
Good old crab legs.
This game is gonna be bad too. Pittsburgh's heading to Cincinnati without Joe Burrow, take on the Bengals, and they just fired Matt Canada, so their offense is gonna look good. I'm taking Pittsburgh comfortably.
Yeah,
Second lowest over under of the week, by the way, at 34.5. There's a lot of stinkers on this schedule. Jesus Christ.
Both teams are starting backup quarterbacks.
Wow.
Is it the
It's a Kenny Pickett joke. He should be a backup quarterback.
Is it the Jake Browning show? Do they?
Yes,
have
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right.
They should have jumped on the Flacco train.
That seems like it's a pretty comfortable Steelers win to me, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they can start utilizing Warren a lot more.
I don't see. So it's a divisional game in Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's going to roll over them. And Cincinnati still has a couple other guys too. They should have T. Should have Chase, Mixon. I think Pittsburgh wins, but I don't think Pittsburgh's winning by like. I don't think Pittsburgh's been winning anything but a one possession.
How did Browning look? Because I think after
He was
Burrow went
horrible.
down, all he did was throw to frickin'
Chase.
No, he didn't. I don't think he threw that much to Chase at all.
Sorry, he threw a touchdown.
No,
for
I
the
have
game.
him in fantasy. He didn't do anything with Chase.
Boyd, maybe?
Well, he caught a touchdown at the end of the game.
Was
Irwin,
it Boyd?
Trenton Irwin.
Yeah, Irwin. That's who it was. He kept throwing it to Irwin.
You
And
know
I think
what,
that
though,
was just because he
that
is
makes
familiar.
sense though. He's
Probably
the
He's
backup.
familiar
yeah,
with
probably
him because
his-
he's
yeah.
playing with the second stringers.
His
So I
reps
think,
are with Irwin. Yeah, no, exactly.
yeah, a week of
With the
first
week of
team reps
practice,
is going to
maybe
get
better.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
I got no faith in Cincy. Give me Pittsburgh by 100. Up next, the Panthers are traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Titans. Anybody else?
Titans.
I'd say Titans. Levis might not play, so it might be Tannehill again.
Huh.
Tannehill.
Tannehill's
I'll be
back.
con-
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Panthers on the road. Yeah, no, it's probably Titans.
I hope the Panthers win.
Titans.
I would love to see the Panthers win, but
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
think I don't think that's happening on the road. I think if they were in Carolina, you might have had an argument.
We're all big
Listen,
Panthers fans this
is,
week.
This is one of their more winnable games. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't look at Tennessee like there's no way they could beat Tennessee. Like,
I passively cheer for Carolina every week.
yeah,
As don't we all. Up next,
Gotta pick-
Tampa heading to Lucas Oil, take on Indy. Give me Tampa. I don't think the Colts are a really good football team, and obviously the news of Shaq Leonard. Not that that's a plus or a minus, but just kind of goes to show just how dysfunctional Indianapolis has been over the last couple of years.
Shaq just hasn't been good
Yeah.
since he's been hurt.
it's just it was more of a name thing at this point. That was the
Yeah.
shock that he got. Like his game hasn't translated to him being on the field that much anyway. So
I honestly like the Colts here
Really,
as a home favorite. Yeah,
I
and
like-
the big
I
reason
like-
for
yeah.
and the big reason for that is because the Bucks are still down their two starting corners. Like they
It's
have
true.
like Carlton Davis and Jamal Dean are now hurt again, and they just love putting on points, especially at home. I think this is probably going to be the game that hits the highest over, even though it's only 43.5 in Vegas. I think they crush that over this week.
yeah,
I
for sure.
think I think the Colts absolutely take this one.
I like
Yeah,
Tampa in this one.
I think Tampa's firepower is just a little better
I
than
like the other thing I like about Tampa is the run defense is really really good, and Colts aren't going to be able to kind of set up the pass using Taylor as much. They're going to run
but
him obviously, but they're probably gonna have some trouble. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but that
quarterback
doesn't.
thing could be an issue though. I don't know.
A good run defense hasn't stopped them from putting up points before because they put up 39 on the Browns a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Good
true.
point.
That is good. Yeah, I'll take. Maybe it's not as comfortable as I thought, but I'll take Tampa here. John, did
Somebody's
you
got to
say?
be contrarian in this group. Come
I
on.
went with
Yeah, I know.
Tampa.
I agree with you.
Okay.
That's good.
There you go, John.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip Patriots and Giants for last. Jacksonville is traveling to Houston. This is an okay game.
I like this one.
Yeah.
I'm taking Houston. I think that they're going to start making their division chase to win it this week, and they're going to do it this week because Jacksonville. There's something weird about Jacksonville for me. I kind of witnessed them, and they're just like they're not as good as I think they should be. Yeah,
No.
John, taking the words right out of my mouth there.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly not as good as it should be.
Jacksonville's a strange one to me also, but I think one of the things that they've been missing is actually Zay Jones. They've only had him for like 2 or 3 games this year, and they seem to be, or at least Calvin Ridley seems to be a lot more productive on offense when Zay Jones is out there. And I don't think they had Zay when they played the first time when Texans like blew him out. So I think this one's a little bit closer because I think this one's essentially a toss-up at the moment.
Mhm.
So I'll say Jags. I'll say Jags. I think they can make a comeback here. They're leading the division for a reason. They're going to give the Houston Texans a good fight. I think they might take it here.
Nick, you got anything different?
No, I like Jacksonville actually in this one.
John?
I like Houston.
Attaboy. Attaboy, John. All right, up next. The Denver Broncos are hosting the Cleveland Browns. This is going to be a weird game. It's going to be weird. There's going to be a lot of weirdness, and they're probably going to screw with us like they've done every time the Browns and Broncos play by giving us the 2 dark-colored uniforms because the Broncos are just a slightly different tint of orange-brown than the Browns. Like everybody knows the color combination I'm talking about, right? That they do this every single time.
Yep.
Give me the Broncos.
Interesting. Okay.
I think they're going to ride this high. I think they've figured out something.
Yeah.
That they're going to push on deep into the season and create a season of something that we didn't think was going to happen. The Browns are good. Dorian Thompson-Robinson showed me a little more than I thought he had. Obviously, a lot of ground to cover in becoming a potential long-term starting quarterback in this league, or anything more than a flash in the pan. But he showed me a lot more than he did in his first start, which kudos to him. This beating the Steelers is not easy. But I will take the Broncos. A little more firepower. A little better coached. I'll hear any other argument though. This game's gonna be close.
I like the Broncos too.
Yeah.
Look at me and Nick agreeing again.
Ride keeps going.
Yeah, I'm also on the Broncos here. Even though DTR won, he still only put up 13 points against the Steelers. I think the Broncos have a comparable defense to the Steelers and a much better offense. So give me the Broncos.
Yeah, that Broncos defense has really stepped up over the last couple of weeks. Up next, an NFC West division rivalry. The LA Rams got Stafford, lost Cup. They're taking on the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Another game, I think Arizona's going to sneak up on them. I think Arizona's going to take this win. I think the Rams are a better team, but it's a weird division rivalry. They're without Cooper Cup. The Rams, the morale probably isn't great after losing their star receiver for a second time.
Cup's listed as day-to-day, but they're probably going to be super careful with him because they don't want to hurt him even more than he already is. So I also expect him to miss this game. But I think the Rams might still end up taking this, if only for the fact that they're getting Kyron Williams back, and the Cardinals have an atrocious run defense. So
that is true.
The Rams have a good shot here.
That is true. Definitely making me reconsider, but I'll stand pat with my second home in Arizona. I do not expect anybody to agree with me, but the floor is yours to those who haven't picked up.
I kind of like the Rams in this one. Historically, they kind of beat up on the Cardinals.
Got it. So that's their Jets.
And like, yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like how we spoke
there.
about it before. Like matchups a lot of times matter too. And like, even though the Rams aren't great this year, I feel like they got a little more. And I think Arizona's still trying to find a way with Kyler.
Arizona's our Washington. Like the Rams
something like that. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think it will be a close one. I think you're looking at like a field goal game either way. But I think the Rams will figure it out. It's only, I think it's a 1 point line anyway. Right? 1.5.
Probably, yeah.
It's 1.5 right
A really
now.
low line, I know. Yeah.
Cardinals are favored for what it's worth.
Ooh, Vegas is at my back. I love that. John, did you have?
It's those 3 points for being.
Yeah. In
home.
reality, if the line is 1,
Yeah,
they're actually looked at as 2 points worse than them. But,
John, do you have anything to add? I think you said the
No.
Rams, but
Yeah, I'm going with the
Okay.
Rams.
all right. So I got the wild card pick here with the Cardinals. That's fine.
Wild
next.
card.
The Kansas City Chiefs bouncing off this loss against Philly. They're heading to Vegas to take on the Raiders, who just look rejuvenated, looking like they're really playing for something to stick it to the man that is Josh McDaniels. Got this bad boy Raiders energy that I'm really with. But despite that, Kansas City is still Kansas City. I don't know how I could pick the Raiders in good conscience. They're just kind of a limited football team. They're just playing by the fly of their pants here.
This screams comeback game for the Chiefs, especially with how they lost the Eagles last night.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders cover because the line is 9.5 right now.
Oh wow!
I think the Chiefs end up winning.
yeah, I like the. I would have liked the Raiders more if the Chiefs beat Philly.
Yeah, because that's trap
short
game.
week.
It's a bit of a trap game.
Big game, yeah, kind of thing. But now that they're low, I can't see Kansas City going into.
Yeah, they're gonna go.
They're in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're in Vegas.
I can't see going in there flat and stuff like that. They're gonna come out on the purpose, try to right the ship a little bit, use it as a get right spot. I like Kansas City, and I can actually see it not being that close either.
And the Bills are back. They beat the Jets, beat the crap out of them. They're going to Philadelphia to take on a pissed off, or not pissed off, but a very happy Eagles team. I'm sorry, it's late. It's not late. It's 9:00. Man, I'm old. The Bills, Eagles. Everybody thought this could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. The Bills have been kind of flat this year, to tell you the truth. But they did fire their OC. Offense looked a lot better. I took Philly though. I think Philly's top to bottom better football team. The Bills are beginning a rough stretch between Philly. I think it's Dallas next week.
Or Miami at the end of the year too. I think
it's a rough next 3 games for the Bills. And the rough ride starts here. I'm taking Philly. Anybody taking the Bills here?
I'll take Buffalo.
John's feeling Buffalo. All right.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I think the line is 3.
Yep.
Which essentially means that they're looking at them as evenly matched, which is kind of surprising considering Philly's been as good as they've been. And then, I mean, you know what? Philly's been good record-wise. They look a little clunky sometimes too, though. So like, yeah, they figure it out, which is what great teams do, obviously. And they're really, really talented, which obviously helps. But yeah, I mean, they don't put it together for 60 minutes. So I could see why people kind of like a little sliver of Buffalo, but Buffalo also doesn't really. Buffalo puts together for 60 minutes, but they do it like once a month. that's Buffalo's problem. So I like Philly though. I like Philly.
I don't think Buffalo
a lot better this week.
I don't think Buffalo can take advantage of the clunkiness, like you just mentioned, Nick.
Yeah.
And also, I think Josh Allen is just too turnover prone for the Eagles defense to not capitalize on that. So I'm going Philly.
But John is feeling the Bills after that. He's buying into the bounce back. He's buying into the bounce back, and not just because we all hate the Eagles in this room.
It's fair; it can certainly happen.
But I hate the Bills more than I hate the Eagles, to tell you the truth. So
this week,
no, screw the Eagles forever and always.
You hate the Bills more than you hate the Eagles?
Yes.
The Bills never cost you a championship.
Yeah, but listen, man, then I should hate the Giants because they costed us too, but I don't. I hate the Eagles, but the Bills, they're public enemy number 1. Their fans talk so much garbage.
Anything right now.
And they haven't done anything.
The 2 strongest natured fan bases in the NFL for sure.
Like, it's just, yeah, I don't want to tailgate at that one. I want nothing to do with that tailgate.
Somebody's dying at that tailgate.
I mean, that's been a pretty common occurrence in 2023 for NFL games, but the Ravens are heading to SoFi, a home game, actually, because they're playing the Chargers. I'm taking the Ravens comfortably. I think me and Nick have kind of laid out what our problems with the Chargers. It's a bad coached team.
I mean, yeah, at this point, until the Chargers figure out how to win these games, I would never take them to win these games. Like it's just like even last
The
week.
Ravens
like,
are rolling, and the
just-
Chargers are the direct opposite of that.
Yeah, plus
Even
the Ravens
with-
are well rested too. They got 10 days off.
Even without managers, they're still too complete of a team. Definitely taking the Ravens here.
Yeah,
Are we buying the Ravens Super Bowl hype? I feel like a lot of people are really shy on saying that the Ravens could beat the Chiefs in the playoffs.
the
I think
Ravens
you can see
could
it.
beat every team.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure that they will.
We're
I think absolutely
we're a
Could, they
progressive
just kind
bunch.
of get there and don't every time.
We're a progressive bunch on this podcast. We're not going to sit here and just take the Chiefs blindly when it comes to these conversations.
Especially after last night.
Yep.
But a lot of people are really shy on saying that the Ravens could make the Super Bowl. I don't get it.
I got a question for you. All right, you look at the Ravens, right? I tell you, what's the Ravens' weakness?
They don't have one. Maybe they're running backs, but their running backs are putting up big.
No,
big
their running backs are efficient. They run the ball well. They run the ball well. They have enough weapons on offense. Andrews hurts, but likely actually is pretty good for a backup.
I'd argue they're not even using the best running back they have. Keaton Mitchell has
Mitchell,
shown
yeah.
a lot of bursts when they've gotten him in there, and they're just giving Gus all the touches.
The running back is the only thing I can come up with because it's not a name brand guy there.
But you
They
don't
make
need
it
that.
work.
Like,
Gus Bus is absolutely a name brand. Come on now.
Pacheco was a Super Bowl champion running back last year. You don't need a name brand. You just need a
That's what I'm
running
saying.
back.
If I'm saying that your running back is your weakness, then you're a pretty damn good football team.
And listen, the other thing I would argue, they're really well coached. Harbaugh's awesome coach.
Absolutely.
They're prepared every week. Their defense is solid. They get after the quarterback. They cover well. I'm not saying they're unbeatable. Obviously, they're beatable. Their offense their offense goes into lull sometimes. They lose a little consistency. Not so much lately, but they sometimes have problems with drops, stuff like that. But listen, OBJ is starting to come on a little bit. I think he's gonna take on a little more importance this year because now that Andrews is gone, they're gonna need another weapon and stuff like that. So, Andrews being out sucks, but the offensive line is good. Like they're best kicker in the game, which listen, that matters too. You never have to worry about it.
Yeah, Belichick really loves that.
Right, exactly.
And likely is a good enough weapon that they're not going to field the Andrews.
Yeah.
No,
right.
I think the Ravens should honestly be the favorite in the AFC. I do. I really do. And a lot of people are shy about saying it.
I can see the argument.
Yeah, for sure. They have the least problems. That's the best way to put it.
And to close it out, or not to close out, because we still have to talk about Patriots-Giants and make our picks there. The Bears are headed to Minnesota to take on Josh Dobbs and the Vikings. I think this is a bounce back game for the Vikings. They're probably coming out a little frustrated. They didn't get that primetime win out in Denver. It's a homestand against a division rival who's not playing their best football. I think the Vikings are going to take this one. I don't think it's going to be comfortable because division games are weird, but I'm pretty confident the Vikings get this dub. Anybody taking the Bears?
No, I like Minnesota too.
I'll take the Bears because division games are weird.
There you go. I mean that was my
The Bears.
Bears.
All right.
Please win games.
No kidding. Yeah. But we've done all the window dressing. We've talked all we can about it, which wasn't a ton because what is there to talk about with this fucking game? The New York Giants are hosting my New England Patriots. I said it the week before the week of the Germany game after we lost to the Commanders. I said it on the podcast. I am not picking the Patriots the rest of the year. I don't care if they turn it around. I don't care how good they look. I cannot pick them to win a game because they don't know how, and they probably won't know how throughout the rest of the year. This is probably the last really winnable game we have outside of the Jets at the end of the year. This is probably it. And we can't beat the bad teams at all. We can't beat the good teams. The Giants they fit into the teams that we can't beat because we can't beat any of them. So give me the Giants. Like I said, like 12-6, all field goals. Nobody's gonna watch this crap. But we're subjected to doing it. Anybody feel differently? Tell me how the Patriots are gonna win. God damn it!
I would have taken the Giants if they hadn't lost to Washington. I think they would have came home on a homestand. All right, they look bad last couple weeks. They want to look bad for the home fans. I think the Patriots win a similarly low-scoring game. I think Belichick, like Andrew said, Belichick against rookie quarterbacks generally has a lot of success. I think he'll make.
But here's a counter.
Let's counter.
Belichick can't play well against his former proteges. Brian Dable, former Patriot. We suck. The only protege we could beat was Bill O'Brien. We can't beat Josh. We didn't beat Josh McDaniels this year. We couldn't do it. We couldn't beat Matt Patricia. There's two curses here.
Belichick's going to take away Barkley, obviously, and he's going to force Tommy DeVito to, make a bunch of throws. Even last week, if you kind of watched the game, it felt like the Giants were. Somebody said it on Twitter, and they put it perfectly. They said, I forget, one of the Giants beat writers, but he basically said, like, the Giants know they can't sustain drives. So basically, it's like, risk reward. Have him stand around, try to find an open guy, get chunk plays, and turn him into touchdown drives.
That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier.
Right. Yeah. Like they know they can't sustain, they can't get 80-yard drives out of it. It's not going to happen. So for them, like, they need to get like a couple of 15, 20-yard plays. Maybe you get a penalty somewhere and something like that, move the stakes a little bit. But I feel like Washington's defense is a lot more undisciplined than the Patriots defense. The Patriots defense has probably suffered more because of the offense than necessarily being bad.
It's injuries.
Right. It's just hard. It's just hard to be a consistent defense when your offense gives you absolutely nothing every week. Like, it's an impossible task sometimes. So I think the Giants are going to try the same thing, but I don't think that's going to work back to back weeks where like they get enough, off script kind of like, because even like the big plays the Giants had this week, the Darius Slayton play, they slipped down. The Barkley touchdown was just a really good play. Yes, we okay. But yeah, I don't know. I think like similar to the Bills game score wise, like a 13-9 kind of like, maybe the Pats put together one drive and they get down the field and score, and it's not going to be pretty either way. What?
I'd love to see us complete a drive. I would love it. Believe me, I'm not coming into this game wanting to lose. Like, not even for the whole draft thing. I want to see. I'd rather us win out and not make the playoffs. I'd love to finish the season at, what would it be, 9-8? I'd love that. Would love nothing more than to just run the table, go into 2024, feeling pretty good about myself with my 19th pick. Would love that. Would absolutely love it. I'm a spoiled Patriots fan. I don't give a fuck about the draft. I don't want to talk about it. I don't care. Like, that draft episode we had last week with Ken, as much as I love Ken, great guy, very bright, I didn't want to talk about the draft. I really don't. I really don't give a fuck about the draft in November. The fact that I do is really depressing. So I'd love to win this game. I would, but we can't drive down the field.
We hope you get your wish.
I thank you, even if it's not because of me and it's because you want the Giants to suck.
Of course, I want to see you happy. Come on.
Yeah, that's all it is.
So one of us has to be happy coming out of this call. Come on.
Dude, if the Giants win, nobody's going to be happy.
That's true.
It's a fair point.
It's a very bittersweet thing for them to win things at this point.
John, what do you think?
Oh, like I said earlier, a bad team's going to beat us. Like, I go into those bad team games thinking the same thing. Like, I thought the Raiders, we should be able to beat them. They kicked our teeth in. Like, Ramondre Stevenson is going to kick the shit out of us.
Hope so.
If you let him, like, the only thing stopping him is Bill Belichick himself, because we can't. Like, I promise you, throw the ball to him, first down every time. Run,
please,
first down every. Like, just do it, please.
Please. I need that. I need a fantasy win. Damn it. Fonz, let's end it with you.
I think one of the biggest things that we haven't talked about is the fact that our front seven has looked ridiculous over the last couple weeks. And I think we're finally starting to come into our element a little bit now that Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke are starting to actually show their true colors a bit. And I think regardless of who you end up starting back there, the fact that we blitz as much as we do, and the fact that you guys can't really stretch the field with the quarterbacks that you really have, I think really kind of limits your offensive opportunities against us. So it's going to turn into more of a grind game that your defense is going to get worn down with eventually, because we're just blitzing you guys too much. It's going to be low scoring, like everybody else said. I think we end up winning maybe, 14-9. I don't think you really sniff the end zone too much, but you get a few field goals on us to make us sweat a little bit. But DeVito probably ends up doing enough of those chunk plays to get us into the end zone a couple times and comes out with a win.
So it's 2-2. I think John and Nick said the Patriots are going to win. Fonz and me, Giants are going to win. It's nobody wants to watch this game. Nobody wants to be here. We want to fast forward over to February and just be done. I know for
Thanksgiving
me,
for 4 days in a row and just ignore this. That'd be
no
great.
kid. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Just right into the holiday season. But that's
It
the
kinda-
show, everybody.
It kind of sucks that the Thanksgiving days aren't better. That makes sense.
They're not really competitive, which is
Yeah, like I'm
unfortunate.
not like that. Like I'm gonna watch it because like what else am I gonna watch, right? But like
Well, you don't want to watch the
Short
Macy's
lines
Day
around
Parade?
Thanksgiving and everybody's
yeah, I'm
pretty
not.
sure
I
they're
live in
going
the
to
city
win
that the
instead of
parade is
lose.
in.
He's just got to look out his window. He'll see enough of
I'm actually in Long Island, so I won't be anywhere near the city.
it. That's true.
But all right, that's the show. John, Fonz, Nick, very much appreciate you guys coming on and help me out. It was an awesome hour or two. Yeah, I wish our teams were in a better spot. Hopefully, when we get around to talking again, probably for our preseason game in the summer, we all feel a little bit better about ourselves.
Or 4 years from now, they're both gonna be good teams. Don't worry.
But Nick, thank Christ that I didn't travel to New York for this one like I thought I was going
man.
to.
Oh, I
I
almost did
went
too.
I almost went to the Dallas game.
I was supposed to be at the Dallas game this year for the Giants. My cousin has a friend who has season tickets, and he always offers him 2 tickets a year. So my cousin wants to take me 1 year to the Dallas game. I was supposed to go last year, but it was on Thanksgiving. So I was like, all right, we'll go this year. And then this year it didn't work out because he's a Jets fan. So he took those for his game. That poor guy, week 1, the Jets lost Rodgers. Week 2, they were in Dallas. So he ended up having to go watch Zach Wilson play for him. Sucked for him. I was actually supposed to be in Vegas this year for Giants Raiders because my brother turned 40 in June, and we were supposed to do like a birthday trip. Thank God that got canceled because if I had traveled there to watch him get blown out and Daniel Jones' knee to get torn up, I would have been pissed. And I definitely would have lost a blackjack weekend.
But all right, guys, very much appreciated. For all of you at home, please like, subscribe, follow, share, the whole 9 yards. Comment. Hopefully it's a Patriots win. Everybody's here is pulling for it. So
For sure.
go Patriots, everybody. Say it with me.
Go Patriots.
Yeah, go Pats.
Nah,
We'll be
nah,
back
can't
next
do it.
week. Thank you for watching the Foxboro BeatCast. Go Pats.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.